Okay, what we're going to learn in this lesson is something called equivalent fractions. And all equivalent fractions are, if you look at the word equivalent, the first few letters even look like equal. So they're fractions that are equal to each other, they're just written in different ways. Okay, so one big rule you have to remember for doing equivalent fractions is whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. Okay, that is the big rule when it comes to equivalent fractions. Alright, so if I take a look at a basic one here, 1/2, I'm wanting to find an equivalent fraction, or another way to say 1/2, using the denominator of 4. Now that's another vocab word that we have to work on. The bottom numbers are called denominators. The top numbers are called numerators. So if you look at it, the denominator tells you how many pieces there are in the whole whatever it is, pie, donut, whatever. And the numerator tells you how many that you're taking or how many that you're coloring. In this instance, we're coloring them green. So 1/2, we're trying to find an equivalent fraction at a force. Now, all you have to do with equivalent fractions is ask yourself, what did they do to the 2 to get 4? And you're allowed to choose between multiply and divide. So it looks like they just did 2 times 2 to equal 4. Now the rule we talked about at the beginning of this lesson is whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do to the top. Okay, so if I multiply by 2 on the denominator, I got to multiply by 2 on the numerator. So 1 times 2 is 2. So if you look at the pictures above, 1/2 is the same as 2/4, or they're equivalent. All right, let's try another one. Here we have 2/3, and we want to see how many ninths that would be. Okay, so the denominators are done for us here, so we got to see what we did to the 3 to get the 9. Okay, well, our basic math facts tell us that 3 times 3 is 9. The rule is whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So if I do 2 times 3, I get 6. So if you look at our pictures up here, 2 out of 3, or 2/3, is the same as 6 out of 9, or 6/9. Okay, that's now sometimes we have to do divide instead of multiply. And this one's set up a little bit different for us. So we have 6/10, and you can see the picture up here. We want to see that's 3 what? So now the numerators are done for us. Okay, well, what did they do to the 6 to get 3? Well, this time it is not multiplying. This time it's dividing. So they took 6 and divided it by 2 to get 3. Remember our rule, whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do to the top, or vice versa. So if I divide by 2 on the top, I got to divide by 2 on the bottom, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, so if you look at the pictures here, 6 out of 10, or 6/10, is the same as 3 out of 5, or 3/5. Remember, you can divide or multiply when you're figuring out what to do on the equivalent fractions.